There are so many indie JRPGs out there that most people never even hear about, and honestly, it's a shame. Today, we're looking at 10 indie JRPGs that deserve way more hype than they ever got. These games have great stories, fun gameplay, and a ton of heart, but they flew under the radar. Let's give them the spotlight they deserve. Chained Echoes. This little game right here is something special, but for some reason barely anybody talks about it, and that's just kind of sad, man. Like, if you grew up loving old school JRPGs on the SNES or PS1, this game is like a warm hug straight from that era, but way cleaner and way smoother to play. It's got that classic turn-based combat that feels tight and snappy, not slow or boring. The way you manage your skills and that overdrive system, it keeps you thinking without making your brain hurt. It's not some super complex nonsense, it's just good, fun battles where you actually care what move to use. And the world, man, it's packed. You got dragons, robots, airships, magic, like everything you'd want in a JRPG mashed together in a way that somehow doesn't feel messy. It just works. The pixel art is seriously pretty too. You look at this thing and it's like, dang, how did one guy make most of this by himself? It honestly feels like something we should have got back in the day on PS2 or something, but now it's here in 2020 something and nobody's paying attention. If this game had a Square Enix logo slapped on the box, people would be calling it a classic already. So yeah, Chained Echoes deserves way more love. It's one of those games that proves indie devs can absolutely hang with the big studios, and sometimes even outshine them. Sea of Stars. Now let's talk about Sea of Stars. This one's just a straight up beautiful game, man. Like right when you start playing, you can tell it's made with a ton of care and love. Everything about it just feels like a big thank you letter to old school JRPGs. The ones from back in the day, but cleaner and smoother to play today. First off, this game looks amazing. The pixel art is just nuts. It's super detailed, but still keeps that simple, cozy style. Every area you walk through feels alive, like the water actually moves, the lighting changes, the little animations are full of charm. It's one of those games where you just stop walking sometimes to admire how pretty it is. The combat is turn-based, but never boring. You don't just spam the same attack over and over. You gotta time your hits and blocks, kind of like in Mario RPG or Paper Mario. It keeps you locked in without feeling stressful. You're always doing something and it feels good. Plus you can see enemies on the screen. No random battles, thank God. Now the story, it starts off feeling simple, like two kids trying to become heroes and save the world, but then it slowly pulls you into something way deeper. You get hit with twists, real emotional stuff, and some nice surprises. If you've played The Messenger, yeah, same devs. The writing feels light but also mature when it needs to be. It's not trying too hard, just a chill adventure with some real heart. The only weird part is how this game came out, got great reviews, and then kind of disappeared. Like, people played it, loved it, and then moved on. But Sea of Stars deserves way more hype. This is the kind of game you remember years later. A full-on modern classic in the indie JRPG world. Just pure vibes, man. From CrossCode. CrossCode is one of those games that quietly dropped, didn't get much noise, but ended up being way better than folks expected. It's got this sharp 2D pixel art style that kind of looks retro, but don't let that fool you. The game's packed with detail and polish. It doesn't feel cheap or lazy at all. You can tell the devs really cared about every part of it. You play as this character named Leia. She wakes up inside a virtual MMO world, and she can't talk. Not just shy, literally mute. It sounds like it might hold things back, but honestly, it works. The way her expressions and little bits of text are handled makes you care about her even more. There's something really genuine about it. gameplay is where this thing shines. It's not turn-based, you're running around, dodging, blocking, throwing projectiles, landing hits, all in real time. The fights feel smooth, but it's not just about action. There's a ton of brainy puzzles too, mostly in the dungeons. Some of them get tricky, but in a fun way. They make you stop and think, but once you figure it out, it feels good. There's also a bunch of side quests, secret paths, shops, and towns. It feels like a world you can actually explore, not just a hallway. The writing is solid too. Not dramatic or over the top, just well done and easy to follow. Feels more grounded than most JRPGs. Libra Revision. You boot it up, and honestly the visuals might throw you off a bit. It's got that older Flash game vibe. Chunky sprites, kinda stiff animations, doesn't really scream modern hit, but if you can get past that first impression, you're in for something special. Underneath that old school look is a massive, deep action RPG that honestly puts a lot of bigger budget games to shame. Combat is real time and super crunchy. You got swords, spells, dodging, blocking. It all feels tight and satisfying. Every swing hits hard. It's not just button mashing though, there's real strategy, and bosses will test your skills. Some of them are tough, but fair. When you win, it feels good. Story-wise, it starts off pretty vague, but over time it just keeps building. What seems like a simple tale ends up turning into something way more emotional and layered. There's time travel, weird gods, dark secrets. It goes places, and the way the world evolves around you, it keeps you guessing. It ain't surface level stuff. You'll start caring about the characters before you even realize it. What really makes this game stand out though is how dense it is. We're talking gear upgrades, skill trees, hidden stuff all over the place. It's one of those games where you're always unlocking something new or finding some weird little side thing that rewards you for poking around. And this isn't made by a giant team either. This thing's basically a passion project, years in the making, and you can feel it in every part of the game. The dev clearly poured everything into it. The scale, the heart, the way it keeps surprising you, it all adds up. Most folks still don't even know this game exists, and that's kind of a crime. If you're into action JRPGs with deep systems and a story that actually builds into something, this is one of those hidden bangers that sticks with you. Just give it a shot, don't judge it by how it looks, because what's underneath? Way more than you'd expect. Edge of Eternity. Edge of Eternity is one of those games that aimed high, like real high. It's made by a tiny indie team, but they went for this big open world JRPG with turn-based combat, voice acting, emotional story, big sci-fi world, the whole deal. And yeah, not everything hits perfectly, but you gotta respect the ambition. The setting's this mix of fantasy and futuristic tech with mechs, crystals, magic, and alien invaders all mashed together. It sounds messy, but somehow it works. You're playing as Darion, a soldier who deserts the army to find a cure for this spreading sickness called the corrosion. Along the way, he's joined by his sister and a bunch of other misfit characters. The story actually tries to say something. It touches on grief, war, family, and even kind of pokes at government stuff without being too preachy. It's not just JRPG fluff. Combat's turn-based, but with movement, like you can reposition on the battlefield, which adds some depth. It's not the fastest system ever, but it's strategic, and the way you build your gear and unlock new abilities gives it that nice RPG grind feeling. Music's by Yasunori Mitsuda, yep, the Chrono Trigger and Xenoblade guy, and the soundtrack legit carries some moments. Now real talk, the game had a rocky launch. Performance issues, rough animations, kind of janky facial stuff, but over time the devs kept patching it up and improving it. It's still got rough edges, pun not intended, but if you can look past the imperfections, there's a lot to like. It's one of those underdog JRPGs that didn't get a fair shot from most folks, but if you're into that classic JRPG flavor, big world, emotional characters, slow burn storytelling, and you're down for something made with heart instead of a giant budget, Edge of Eternity deserves way more eyes on it than it got. Jack move. Jack move is a short and stylish indie JRPG that just oozes charm. It's set in a cyberpunk world full of neon lights, corrupt corporations, and slick retro tech. But instead of a huge 50-hour epic, this one keeps things tight, around 6 to 8 hours long, and still manages to feel like a full journey. You play as Noah, a smart, tough hacker girl trying to track down her missing dad. The story's simple but hits the right beats, with some nice emotional moments and a good dose of humor. Noah's personality really shines, and she's not just some quiet JRPG hero. She talks, reacts, and actually feels alive. That alone makes the game more fun to play through. The battle system is turn-based, but with a twist. Since you're a hacker, all your attacks are digital, like using software to fight enemies inside cyberspace. You've got attack programs, defense programs, buffs, and even special Jack moves, which are flashy, limit break style attacks. It's easy to learn, but still has some strategy to it, especially when it comes to picking the right type of software against certain enemy types. What really makes this game pop, though, is the art and music. It's got this bright pixel art look that feels like a mix of Final Fantasy and Blade Runner, and the soundtrack, straight up synthwave goodness. It's got those chill but catchy beats that keep your head bobbing even during battles. And since it's short, there's no filler. No grinding, no getting lost, no boring side quests. Just a fun, focused JRPG that knows exactly what it wants to be. Crystal Project. Crystal Project is one of those indie JRPGs that totally flew under the radar, but it's got something real special going on. At first glance, it looks like a cute retro game. Simple, blocky graphics, bright colors, no fancy cutscenes or voice acting, but underneath that is a super open, deep, and creative game that lets you play how you want. The job system is where the game really shines. You can mix and match tons of different classes like warrior, mage, thief, monk, and even weirder ones like bandit or arcanist. And here's the fun part, you can swap jobs whenever you want, mix abilities from other classes, and come up with crazy combos. It feels super free and rewarding when you figure out your own setups. The combat is classic turn-based, but with enough twists and mechanics to keep you thinking. Every fight feels like a puzzle. You can't just mash buttons. You gotta learn enemy patterns, use the right skills, and be ready to swap things up if a boss smacks you around. And exploration? Man, it's some of the best I've seen in an indie JRPG. The world is full of hidden areas, treasure chests, optional bosses, and stuff you'll totally miss unless you go off the beaten path. It doesn't even use a traditional quest log. You just go, and the game trusts you to figure things out. RFL Enhanced Edition. RFL Enhanced Edition feels like flipping open a forgotten storybook from the attic. It's a pixel RPG, yeah, but it's got heart. Everything here just has that cozy, handmade vibe. You're playing as Lita, this girl from a floating village who stumbles into something way bigger than she expected. Old magic, hidden curses, forgotten ruins, classic fantasy stuff, but told with a kind of quiet charm most games don't even try to do anymore. It's got turn-based battles, but nothing stiff or slow, things move fast, and the little strategy bits, timing skills, stacking buffs, managing your squad keep it interesting without getting in your way. The menu system's clean, too, you're never stuck guessing how to do anything. Where this one really shines is the world. Every little corner feels like it's hiding something. Secret paths, caves, side quests that actually matter. You're not just following a path, you're digging into a place that feels lived in. And the music? Soft and dreamy, like background tunes in an old school fantasy movie. So the characters don't just fill a party slot, they have actual purpose in the story. Lita especially grows a lot from start to end. Nothing too edgy or over the top, just a solid, personal journey with stakes that actually feel real. This game didn't blow up when it dropped, but it should've. It's a quiet gem, one of those small RPGs that hits the right spots if you're into adventure, discovery, and a bit of heart. Not flashy, just solid, warm, and way better than it looks at first glance. Cosmic Star Heroine. Cosmic Star Heroine feels like a turbocharged 16-bit RPG that finally grew up, but most people still missed it. This game gives you sci-fi city lights, neon streets, and bold designs that hit you from the title screen. But there's a real story behind the flash look. You play as Alyssa LaSalle, a government operative who decides she's done doing dirty work for big suits. She joins a rebel crew to expose a corporate shadow network. The plot hits hard with betrayals, secrets, and some nice character moves without getting lost in complexity. The dialogue is sharp and modern, yet still simple enough so you never lose the thread. Battle system is turn-based but fast and slick. You pick tools like hacking drones, freezing lasers, or heavy damage strikes. There's teamwork bonuses if you sync moves right. It never gets boring because you keep unlocking new weapons and abilities as you go. No dragging fights, just bold strategy and quick action. Exploring is fun too. Levels range from gloomy labs and polished halls to space stations and alien beaches. Side missions give you cool gear, hidden codes, or new allies to recruit. World feels big but not overwhelming. The map guides you, but you still feel smart when you find hidden corners or unlock secrets ahead of schedule. It didn't get heavy sales, and reviewers liked it, but the hype stayed small. It deserves more shine because it feels confident and modern without losing classic RPG roots. Cosmic Star Heroine is that rare indie where smart writing, clean combat, and snappy design all click together. If you're into space meets spy story meets classic RPG, this one's solid gold. Last Epoch. Last Epoch is one of those games where, at first glance, it kinda looks like your usual dark fantasy hack-and-slash RPG. You've probably seen games like this before. Top-down view, dungeons, loot flying everywhere, but the more you dig into it, the more you realize this thing's got a real soul to it. It's not trying to copy Diablo or Path of Exile just to ride the wave. It's got its own lane, it's quiet, smart, and full of depth if you're down to give it time. The whole idea of time travel in this one actually plays a big role. You're not just hopping between zones, you're literally moving through different eras, past, present, future. Every time shift changes the layout of the world. Places look completely different depending on what point in time you're in. A peaceful town in one era becomes a cursed wasteland in another. That kind of thing makes exploring feel fresh. You're not just clearing maps, you're unraveling what happened to this world over centuries. Now let's talk about combat, because yeah, this part is clean. It's real time, but not just button mashing. Every class has its own rhythm. Whether you're throwing magic beams, slashing enemies, or summoning creatures to fight beside you, it all feels sharp and responsive. The skill trees are wild too, but in a good way. Like, you pick a main class, say a Sentinel or Acolyte, but then you unlock what they call Masteries, which basically lets you steer that class into one of 3 directions, and each of those branches has its own vibe, its own abilities, and you can build them to suit your style. Want to be a slow, tanky bruiser who reflects damage, or a glass cannon throwing out lightning bolts? You can do both, and way more. The upgrade system here is also super addicting. It ain't just equip this sword, hit harder. You can customize pretty much everything. You collect crafting shards, modify your gear, boost certain stats. It's like building a Lego version of your perfect warrior, but somehow it's not overwhelming. The game slowly eases you in, so you're never sitting there confused, wondering what just happened. It gives you room to breathe. The loot is generous but not spammy. You pick up stuff that actually makes a difference. Some gear boosts just raw power, others tweak how your skills work, so every drop feels exciting. Sometimes you'll change your whole build around one cool item. It keeps you tinkering, keeps you engaged. The story itself ain't some Oscar-worthy drama, but it does the job. You're traveling through time trying to stop a big bad force from ruining everything. Simple enough, but the way it's delivered, with the world changing as you progress, adds real weight to it. You get little glimpses of what the world used used to be like and how bad things got. There's something kinda sad but fascinating about watching a kingdom fall apart through different eras. You start to care in a quiet, slow burn kind of way. Visually, it's not the most jaw-dropping game, but it's clear and easy on the eyes. Spells pop, environments are moody, and enemy designs are solid. It never feels cheap. It's not trying to wow you with over-the-top effects. It just focuses on clarity, which honestly makes it easier to enjoy. You're not straining your eyes trying to figure out what's happening. In Stars and Time. But this one's a little different. It's not your usual big flashy RPG with crazy battles and over-the-top graphics. This is more of a slow, quiet, emotional kind of story. It's got that indie charm for sure, but not in the janky way. More like in the, hey, this was made with love and care kind of way. So picture this. You're a guy named Sifrin and you're traveling with your group of close friends to go defeat a tyrant king. Sounds pretty standard at first, right? Classic fantasy setup. But then, boom, something awful happens. And you realize you're stuck in a time loop. Like Groundhog Day, but in a more emotional and heavy way. Every time you die, the day resets, and only you remember what happened. Nobody else does. Your friends? They just smile and keep going while you slowly lose it inside. That's where this game gets real. It's not about saving the world in a big epic way, it's more about the mental weight of knowing too much. Every loop, you try to fix things, stop bad stuff from happening, get the perfect outcome, but you keep failing and you start to feel that pressure. The game shows how isolating it is to be the only one who remembers pain. And the way it writes those quiet, awkward, or straight up heartbreaking moments honestly kinda hits hard. Now gameplay wise, it's a simple turn-based RPG. You've got classic moves, items, puzzles here and there. Nothing too wild or hard to figure out. It's more about getting through the story than mastering some hardcore system. Battles are fine, but they're really just a way to keep the story moving. If you're into deep combat systems, this ain't it, but if you're down for something more narrative driven with cool little twists and puzzles along the way, it's gotcha. Orange Blood. Orange Blood drops you into a weird 90s cyberpunk world that's way different from most RPGs. The setting is this man-made island called New Koza, full of neon lights, gangs, and shady deals. You play as a squad of 4 badass women, each packing serious firepower and skills, trying to survive and take control of the city's underworld. Combat is turn-based and tactical. You have to think about which character to use, what weapon fits best, and when to use special moves. Each fighter has her own strengths and skills, so mixing them up is key. The fights keep you on your toes without dragging on too long. Exploring New Koza is a big part of the fun. The streets are packed with colorful NPCs, side quests, and hidden spots. You get to know the city's dark corners, meet shady characters, and uncover some secrets. The writing sometimes stumbles with the English translation, but the story's cool enough to keep you going. Now honestly, the gameplay can get a little repetitive if you grind too much and the story isn't super deep, but if you're into unique settings, solid turn-based battles, and a fresh urban vibe, this game hits the spot. If you dig retro pixel art, cool music, and tactical combat wrapped in a gritty city story, give Orange Blood a shot. It's a little rough around the edges, but still a pretty cool ride. Lunar Lux. It looks like your usual pixel RPG, right? All cute and retro and chibi, like, oh yeah, here comes another Earthbound clone or whatever, but nah man, this game is doing its own thing. It's got this anime-style sci-fi energy, but then it also throws in active turn-based battles where you gotta actually do stuff. Like, you don't just sit there and hit attack. You're dodging, blocking, doing little mini-games mid-fight. Now it's like, okay, wait, this isn't just RPG comfort food, this is legit fun. The main character, Bella, she's like this little genius techie girl with a big old heart. She's fixing fixing up robots, zooming around the moon, dealing with trauma, cracking jokes. She's got this perfect balance of light and heavy. Like, yeah, there's danger and mystery and some sad stuff going on, but also she'll say something goofy right after and it just hits right. I swear, if this game had a big publisher or some fancy marketing trailer with a slow piano cover in the background, people would be calling it a cult classic already. But because it's indie, it just kind of dropped, and that's a crime. Honestly, this thing deserves way more hype. Last Dream. This one hits that old school JRPG nerve in the best way. Like if you grew up playing stuff like Final Fantasy on your cousin's dusty PlayStation or whatever, this is gonna feel like slipping on a pair of broken-in sneakers. Not flashy, not trying to be cool, just solid, classic, crunchy RPG goodness that actually respects your time. But okay, real quick, this game don't look like much at first. It's got those basic RPG Maker visuals, kind of like, yep, seen this 100 times, but then you dig in and you start to realize, wait a minute, this thing's deep. Like the kind of deep where you lose a whole weekend tweaking your party setup, messing with skills, trying new builds, and getting sucked into dungeons that are weirdly addictive. The combat is turn-based and clean, but there's options, bro. You can make your party however you want. Like, no joke, there's a lot of class combos. Want to run 4 healers? Go for it. Want to be that one dude who picks Thief, Monk, and Black Mage just to see what happens? This game's like, yeah, sure, go nuts. In the world? Okay, it ain't massive open world stuff or voice-acted cutscenes or anything wild, but the exploration is just satisfying. It's got that classic walk around, get into random fights, find a secret cave with some sick gear energy, and it doesn't hold your hand, like, at all. You mess up, you wipe, and it's like, yep, that's on you. Kind of brutal sometimes, but in a way that makes wins feel earned. It's not trying to reinvent JRPGs or be this super emotional roller coaster. Last Dream is more like a love letter to the classics. Like someone just sat down and said, yo, what if we made a game the way we remember them, not the way they actually were? And somehow they pulled it off. Whistales.
To reclaim the future from those who would try to steal it from us.
So here's the deal. First off, this game is beautiful. Like hand-drawn animation levels of pretty. Every town, every character, even the little enemies you fight, it all looks like it came out of a storybook. It's got that bright, colorful, Saturday morning cartoon vibe, but done with style. It just pops. If you care at all about visual design in games, this one grabs you right away. You play as this girl named Chrisbel who finds out she's a time mage. Sounds fancy, but basically it means you can see the past, present, and future, all at once. Like on screen, literally. The left side of the screen shows the past, the middle is the present, and the right is the future. It's not just a story thing either. You actually use that in fights and puzzles. So like, you can send an enemy into the future to rust their armor or throw them into the past so they're easier to deal with. It's a smart system, not perfect, but definitely unique. Combat is classic turn-based, kind of like Paper Mario. You can time your button presses for extra damage or to block attacks, so it's not just sit and wait, keeps you a little more engaged. And you've got a full party with different abilities, so there's room to mess around with strategies.
We have to stop her! I do feel a connection. There's something there.
Story-wise, it leans into fairy tale stuff, chosen ones, evil empresses, kingdoms in trouble. Pretty familiar setup, but it's got enough little twists to keep it from feeling stale. The characters are lovable too. Chrisbel's sweet, kinda shy, but strong when it counts. Now here's the thing, the game does have some pacing issues. Sometimes the dialogue drags a bit, some of the areas feel a little stretched out, and the combat, while fun, can get repetitive later on. But still, for an indie team trying something this bold, it's hard not to appreciate the effort. Whistales isn't perfect, but it's got soul. It's trying new things while paying respect to the old school JRPGs a lot of us grew up with. If you like turn-based battles, beautiful art, and the idea of messing with time mid-fight, this one's 100% worth checking out. Dragon Fantasy: The Volumes of Westeria. So here's how it works. You play as this dude named Ogden. He's not some fresh-faced teenage hero. No, this guy's already balding and tired. He's been through stuff, but now he's got to go on another big quest, and it's played super classic, like random encounters, tile-based movement, 8-bit music, the whole deal. It's not trying to hide what it is, it's leaning into that retro feel hard. But here's the thing, while it looks and plays old, it's got a funny bone. The writing is full of silly jokes, goofy characters, and a bunch of moments where the game kinda makes fun of itself. Not in a cringy, we're so random way, just enough to keep it light and fun. Like, yeah, you're fighting monsters, but you're also dealing with weird dialogue from NPCs and quests that are a little offbeat. The combat's basic, like super basic. Attack, magic, item, run. No fancy systems here, but that's part of the charm. It knows exactly what it is and doesn't try to be anything more. And honestly, that's kind of refreshing. You can just relax, zone out, grind a bit, and enjoy the ride. What's cool is that the game's split into volumes. Each one has a slightly different vibe, different characters, and little changes to the formula. Some parts even mix in 16-bit SNES-style graphics instead of the original NES look. So while it starts real simple, there's enough variety to keep things moving. Honestly, more people should have given this one a shot, especially folks who say they missed the golden age of JRPGs. This one brings that energy back just with a little wink and a joke along the way. Light Fairy Tale Episode 1 and 2. These games are such a cool little throwback. It's like someone woke up one day and said, yo, what if we made a mini Final Fantasy VII, but as an indie game? And then they just did it. No fuss, no filler, just vibes. So first off, these games are short, like really short. Episode 1's maybe 3 to 4 hours, episode 2 is a little longer, but still tight. And honestly, that's part of what makes it work. They don't waste your time. No grinding for 20 hours, no bloated open world. It's just this focused little slice of JRPG goodness with heart. You're dropped into this underground post-apocalyptic world where people have been living below the surface for who knows how long. The surface is just a myth now, and you play as Haru, this chill dude who gets wrapped up in something way bigger than he expected. A typical JRPG setup, but it works, especially when you realize the game's slowly peeling back the layers of this world. There's mystery, government stuff, creepy science labs, all that good JRPG world building just in bite-sized chunks. Combat, classic turn-based, think old school Final Fantasy with the little side view active time battle kind of setup. It's simple but smooth. You've got your skills, limit break style super moves, and some basic party combos. Nothing too crazy, but it feels right. It's familiar in the best way. And the look. Dude, for a solo dev, this game looks way better than it has any right to. The art style is like low poly PS1 vibes, but clean and colorful. Character models are anime style, and the environments have that gritty but pretty thing going on. Like if Midgar was built by a guy with a soft spot for bright neon and cute faces. The writing's a little uneven here and there, like yeah, sometimes it feels like it was translated or just needed one more pass, but the charm is still there, the characters are likable, especially Haru and his smart mouth friend Kuro, and you can tell the dev really cares about the world they're building. Every episode adds more, sets up new stuff, and keeps you wanting the next part. So yeah, Light Fairy Tale is the kind of series that'll probably go under most people's radar, but if you grew up with PS1 JRPGs and miss that feeling of wandering through low-res cities with battle music stuck in your head, this is a no-brainer. Totally deserves way more love.